Chandler Show.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Brad Chandler Show. My name is Brad Chandler, and I have no idea what episode this is because I've lost count and I don't pay attention to my own stuff. I had made a post a few weeks ago saying that we were going to have a guest on. And so with me today, I have my good friend, Mike, or Mental Misstep, or as I know him, Big Metal Mike. And I actually, here's a funny thing. Like, so I was going through my phone today and I realized I still had your phone number. And in my phone, you're Big Metal Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've known you as I don't even call you by your last name. It's either Mike or Big Metal Mike. It's never been anything else.
I've been Big Metal Mike for I've been Big Metal Mike for 20 years.
No, it's got to be longer than that, man. It's,
at least so 20 years I've been Big Metal Mike.
I'm 38. I've known you. I was probably 17 when I met you.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So it was Joel and Big Metal Mike. It was never just Mike. It was Joel or Big Metal Mike.
Joel and Big Metal Mike. Yeah, we were at that point because we lived right across the street from each other basically, and we were basically inseparable.
Yeah,
and everyone actually thought we were brothers for the longest fucking time.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I went over to Joel's house one day, and I think that's when I actually met you. I went over to his house, and you came over or something like that. I wasn't
sounds
there.
Right.
Like,
sounds right.
It's a Windsor Locks thing because that's
it really
that's
is a Windsor Locks thing. Like the town's so fucking small. Like
everybody knew everybody, and if they didn't know everybody, they knew their business.
Of course.
Everybody knew everybody else's business. So, dude, I haven't seen you in, I want to say at least like maybe 4 years. Has it been that long? No. Have I seen you since COVID?
I don't think it's been that long since we've seen each other. I know it's been a minute, but I don't think it's been that long.
I know we ran into each other at Walmart.
Yes.
Where everybody just randomly runs into each other.
You see everybody at that fucking Walmart too.
I think it was during COVID when we saw each other there.
Yeah, because that was right around the time Megan and I were splitting.
Okay,
and,
so yeah.
Because you asked how Megan was, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember really that. That was an odd conversation. I was like, oh, tell Megan I said hi. And you're like I'll make sure to fucking tell her that you said hi. Yeah. Like you said it sarcastically, and I was just like, oh, he's just being a sarcastic asshole self. Yeah, and then like I found out, like we ran into each other later on, and I was like, wait, what was this about? And you're like, no, this happened. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
But you and I actually, Windsor Locks was like a very, very small town. It's like 1 mile by 1 mile, basically, right?
I always tell people ask me about Windsor Locks. I tell them Windsor Locks is a 3 mile by 3 mile square. Half of it's the fucking airport. And like we said, everybody knows everybody. And if you don't know somebody, you know their fucking business.
Right, exactly. That's exactly. I've always said that. People knew me because I was the guy that walked everywhere in town. I walked from one side, and I used to live off of Suffield Street, and I would walk to the other side of the town every day. You would see me walking. So, but
yeah,
you and I
walking for a while too.
You and I had like the same type of, not the same crew, because we didn't actually hang out together. We knew each other. We knew the same people. And, you're Big Metal Mike, and I'm just Brad, but we were both
you're not just Brad, okay? Okay, let's just clear that out of the way first. You're not just Brad. You're fucking Brad, first of all. Second of all, I was only known as Big Metal Mike because of Joel. Let's just put that out there too.
Okay.
People,
fair enough.
This is Big Metal Mike. We like I said, we always used to hang out together. Like we were inseparable, and people just thought we were fucking brothers. So I was just Big Metal Mike.
I remember when I found out that you actually had a brother, and I was just like,
Sandals.
I was like, what? Yeah, Sandals. and then so there's the other thing. Here's another thing is like I remember like, okay, so when I found out your last name, I was like, wait, what? He actually has a last name. And then I saw like the spelling of your last name.
I do have a last name.
I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, how does that turn into this? And I don't like saying your last name because I just don't feel comfortable with the spelling of it.
Dude, it's wicked French, so it's like people don't know
it's
how to say
totally not spelled. So if you don't mind, I'm going to say your last name.
Yeah, go ahead.
So his last name is Bolyard, right? And the way that it's fucking spelled is definitely not anywhere near how it sounds.
No.
And if you saw it, it's just like, wait, that's how
the way Americans pronounce my last name is an abomination. But my grandparents moved to the country with my father when he was about 6 months old. And the way you say, because they lived right outside Montreal, and it's Beaulieu. But
Americans, that sounds more like it.
Americans can't speak French, so that's how it goes. But what's funny? We were talking about my brother. Fucking, I cannot tell you how many times, because like I was always like I'm an introverted person, so I would spend time playing video games. Joel and I would do the band stuff, but people knew me as Big Metal Mike. They didn't know my last name. So when I told people like, "Oh, you got a brother? You look like this kid Sean," I'm like, "Yeah, that's my brother." What? Wait, he didn't tell me he had a brother when I was buying weed from him.
Right.
Because everybody knew my brother because he was selling weed.
Right.
But nobody knew me. And I was just like, yeah, I play Legend of Zelda. I play my guitar, and
I didn't know about Sandals. I want to say it was probably about a year or two after you and I like knew of each other.
Yeah.
And you and I didn't really know each other in school. Because I believe you. How old are you?
I'm 30. I just turned 36 yesterday, actually. Yesterday's my birthday.
Happy belated birthday!
Thank you.
So we're about 2 years apart. So that would make sense because when I got to Windsor Locks, were you and Rushin in the same class?
Yeah, Rushin and I were class of 04.
So I was 01.
Yep.
So you were just getting into school when I just got out.
Yep.
Or into high school. And I had moved in during my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we met until after I graduated high school.
Yeah, because you and Rushin lived at the apartments near the...
I did not ever live at those apartments.
I thought you did. You didn't live at those apartments?
Nope. So my dad had a house off of Suffield Street. Do you remember? Do you know Suffield Street at all?
Fuck. What's on Suffield Street?
Not much.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't recognize it off the top of my head.
Yeah, but I lived towards off Suffield Street towards Suffield. I was probably like, I don't know. You could probably walk from my house to the town to Suffield town line in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because I think I know the area.
So yeah, I grew up over there. Rushin lived at Bradley Apartments.
Yep.
And I used to go over there, and I remember one of the first times I went over there was right before school. We were hanging out, and we were watching Ace Ventura, and this is when I found out that Cannibal Corpse was in Ace Ventura.
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse. I tell people because people ask about Ace Ventura, like when people are talking about Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. I'm like, the best thing about Ace Ventura: Pet Detective is Cannibal Corpse. The worst thing about Ace Ventura: Pet Detective is the casual transphobia. Those are the best and the worst things.
The what?
The casual transphobia. the whole thing with like the I forget the character's name about being a chick and
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Or
yeah.
this has to be the worst case of what was it?
I forget the line, but yeah, they went hard on it, and I'm like, God damn.
I mean, for the '90s, it was funny.
No, I know, and that's the thing. Like people are like, oh, but it was funny. I was like, yeah, but like you can't dismiss that part. Like
Yeah,
it's a major part of the movie.
it was Einhorn.
Yep, I know.
Einhorn is Finkel, and Finkel is Einhorn.
Yep. That's that whole fucking That's like the whole thing with the movie. And it's like fuck. But yeah, the best part was Cannibal Corpse, and it's like super quick too.
I did, yeah, and yeah, that shit's fucking hilarious. So yeah, I never lived there. I only hung out a couple times with him at his apartment. I think we always hung out. I think we always hung out elsewhere and whatnot. Excuse me. But yeah, we were a part of the Windsor Locks. As small as it was, it had its own metal heads.
Oh
and
yeah.
we all like talked to each other about music and whatnot. I remember like when I first started going to shows and whatnot, and one of the first bands I ever saw was this band called Slaves on Dope.
Oh
And
yeah.
I went with Mike Kostreva. And
Holy fuck, I haven't heard that name in fucking years.
So I haven't seen Mike. Fuck. I don't know. Him and I lost contact for years, but his dad and I still talk.
Really?
Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, we should hit up a show sometime. Every time we talk to each other, he's like, oh, we should hit up a show and whatnot. But he was Mike Kostreva was like my best friend. And his father was like my second dad.
Yeah.
But we went and saw Slaves on Dope, and I remember coming back home one night and I was just like telling everybody, I was like, oh my God, guys, you guys got to hear this fucking band. They're so fucking good. You know, their names are Slaves on Dope. Their guitarist plays with an electric drill and this, that, and the other thing. And then like, I shit you not, within like a week, everybody in our little metal community knew who Slaves on Dope was, and everybody had their fucking album. And I was like, dude, this is fucking cool.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Joel went to that show too, the Slaves on Dope show, because I remember him coming back the next time we saw each other, which was probably like the next day. He was telling me, oh, I saw Slaves on Dope, and he had like the sticker, and I think he got the album too when he was there or something.
So I saw Slaves on Dope twice within 1 week.
Was that show at the Webster? It probably was at the Webster.
So
right?
The first time I saw them was up at the Palladium.
Okay.
And then like a week later, I saw them at the Webster on a different lineup.
So it was the Webster show that he went to.
So I forgot who I saw them with. I can't remember who I saw them with, but I do remember that I've always told people like, oh, what's the heaviest or what's the scariest show you've ever been to?
Scariest show.
And I'm just like, I don't know about scary, but I remember one time I almost died at a Kitty show. And people were like,
metal as fuck though.
Yeah. People were like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, I went and saw Kitty. It was Boy Hits Car.
Mm-hmm.
It was Boy Hits Car, Slaves on Dope, Kitty, and Fear Factory.
Ooh.
At the Palladium.
Fear Factory is fucking bomb too.
They weren't the best band. They were not the best band. So, and I'm just like, all right, I want to be all the way up at the front. So I go all the way up to the front, right? And I saw Boy Hits Car, I saw Slaves on Dope, and I was like, dude, those bands were fucking awesome. The guy from Boy Hits Car, he climbed the fucking speakers, he jumps into the crowd and whatnot. I thought that was the coolest fucking thing. And Kitty comes out. I think Kitty was actually the headliner because they were bigger than Fear Factory at the time.
Yeah, that must have been before.
That was when Brackish came out.
Yeah.
So, so I'm sitting there, right? I'm at the front. I'm at the fucking, the fence or whatever it's called.
Oh, the barricade up front.
Yeah, the barricade. I'm up at the
Yep.
barricade up front, and who knew? Like years throughout the years, I would be at the same barricade numerous times. Kitty comes out, and I don't even know what fucking song they started off with. I went from the barricade to the wall in the matter of seconds.
Like, you know what? That doesn't surprise me.
I thought I was going to fucking die. Like,
dude, let me tell you something. Fucking the one show you won't believe it either. But the one show I went to in my many years of concert going where I actually thought I was gonna die was Sevendust at Toad's Place.
I believe it,
dude. Fucking, they came out. They fucking opened with. I think they opened with Black. I forget what they opened with, but as soon as they fucking opened, dude, everyone went fucking ape shit. I was pretty close to the center of the room,
right?
But I ended up over all the way. Like, if you're facing the stage, I ended up all the way to the right side because I don't know if you remember, but they had that fencing that divided like the 21 plus side.
Yep.
I ended up from the middle all the way pressed up against that fencing, and like if people were fucking shoving. The fencing was rocking back and forth. I was like, I'm gonna fucking die tonight.
Yep.
Sevendust is my almost death show.
Oh, there's been other ones. I almost died at I went to go see Agnostic Front and the Business down in New York. Ooh. It was a month before 9/11, and I went with Mike Kostreva, his dad, my little brother, and myself. And this was the first actual I've seen Hatebreed before, and I thought they were like hardcore and whatnot. And Hatebreed was hardcore at that time,
Oh yeah.
But Agnostic Front, the Business, I believe I want to say American Nightmare was there as well. But this is my first New York hardcore show. So I get to this place. I feel like shit. I think I actually ended up with the flu. This is my first time where I was told no, we don't do that in these types of shows. I was afraid of my glasses getting broken. So I asked the security guard, I'm 17, I don't know anybody. I asked the security guard, I'm like, hey, do you mind holding on to my glasses? And the security guard looked at me like I was fucking crazy. And he said, nah, kid, I'm going to be walking all over you. And I was like, I had no fucking clue what that meant.
See, that's shitty.
No. It's part of the show, though,
Yeah.
He wasn't there to just be a security guard. He was there to enjoy the show. So he was walking on people, dude. So I was like, so when I saw him jumping, this dude fucking jumped into the crowd, walked on people. I was like, holy fuck, So, yeah, we had our own little fucking crew of people. Whenever somebody found a new band, you went to Ozfest or something, and you saw a band, everybody in the fucking town who was a metalhead, they listened to that band forever.
Ever.
And it was pretty cool with our little crew and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, that was the cool thing about Windsor Locks was all of us that were into the metal, hardcore, punk, the town was so small, we all knew each other, and most of us were all in the same fucking bands together because there was 2 drummers, 4 bass players, 100 guitar players.
Yeah,
that was it.
That's basically what it was.
And then Rushin did vocals. That was it. That was it.
It was Rushin did vocals, and then I believe Zach went in and started doing vocals as well.
Yeah.
And I remember the first band that I created, it was called Autotoxin. And every single person in the band, we all had instruments, but none of us actually physically owned instruments. So
that sounds right.
It was me. It was supposed to be me on vocals, Eric Holly on drums.
Yep.
Joel was playing. It was to play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Brian Sturgis was going to play guitar.
Yes.
And then Mike Kostreva was going to play bass.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our band, and we were going to be called Autotoxin. Came up with song titles, had lyrics for it, and everything. We were all talking about like we're going to go to Guitar Center, but none of us drove, so we had to go with our parents and shit. And that band lasted. I want to say it was like a couple months, and nobody had instruments.
No.
So we were just like, yeah, this thing's not going to work.
You can get the band together, but getting the instruments was a whole different fucking story.
But yeah, you looked a little confused when I said that.
Well, because that was one of the things. Like I know quite a, because like we used to do the shows at the Knights of Columbus, and we used to do like even.
Fun fact: I wasn't in my first band until I was in my mid 20s. So I want to say I was probably like early 20s. I want to say 23, 24 probably.
Really?
Yeah. Did not have my first band until then.
Yeah, dude, when you said the name, I'm like, I don't remember seeing you guys, because like we did a lot of fucking local shows, and we played with a lot of local bands.
You guys had Killjoy.
Yep.
It was Killjoy. It was something else before Killjoy, wasn't it?
So, fun fact, the band used to be Killjoy, and we went by that name for a while. And then we found out there was actually a band. I think they were out of the UK, I think. And they're like, hey, that's our band name. You can't use it. And we're like, fuck. So then we changed it to Blight.
Yep.
And Blight was me, Joel. Joel played bass.
Right.
And it was RC. We met RC. He did vocals. Gerbil was the other guitar player, and Gerbil's cousin Joe played the drums.
Oh, Gerbil, man.
And that was when Joel and Lisa were still together.
Yep.
Yeah, that was forever ago, man.
Yeah, that was.
Oof. Fucking dating me now, man.
Yeah, you guys. I think I've seen you guys maybe once.
Yeah, the band was fun. Like we had a good time, but like I didn't actually do like a successful real band until Mind Over Malice. That was like the band where like we actually like put work in. We actually like booked shows. We actually like made merch. We recorded music, like the whole thing. Like,
yeah. Then we got older. Then we left bands and we stopped doing music and shit. Yeah, I stopped doing music like right before COVID. So I was hanging out with my my guitarist, my drummer at the time, and we were debating on like just jamming just for fun, just for the hell of it. Because man, people don't realize the politics behind being in a band.
No, there's a lot of fucking politics in being in a band, dude. A lot.
You have to, like, I have a hell of a lot more respect for like these bands, like who make it now because of all the fucking politics. It's all about who you know. That's all it is. And my last band, we tried, I'm not going to shit talk promoters or anything because just in case I have to, I end up in another band someday.
Of course.
But it was easy for us to get shows in Connecticut, but it was only like 1 or 2 bars.
Yep.
And it was getting tiresome, like playing the same 2 bars when you're playing in front of the same, 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it got annoying.
That was the thing when, like, we played everywhere. Like when I was in Mind Over Malice, we played everywhere, right? And then Mind Over Malice kind of disintegrated, and I joined Morning of the Tragedy, which was the deathcore band. And like That was like the real band I was in. Like we played with Suicide Silence, fucking Job for a Cat. Like we fucking killed it with those shows. And I want to say, I don't know if you remember when Ben went missing, Ben Wu over at the Webster.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know, like I didn't really keep in touch. I didn't know Ben that well. I saw him at all the shows at the Webster and shit, but
it was Ben and Jeff were the guys they were that was back in the day when playing the Webster meant playing a good show.
Yeah, that was the days when the Webster was like hot shit.
Good. It was
fucking good. I'll say this right now on the record, and if for whatever reason this motherfucker's watching, I don't even know where the fuck he is, but fuck you, Jeff. That's all I'm gonna say. Fuck Jeff. I did not like Jeff. Ben was the shit. Jeff was a fucking asshole, and he did not give a shit about your band unless you were selling tickets. Ben at least gave a shit about your band. And that was the time, because that was the time when Curtis, you remember Curtis from Grace L. Green?
Yep. Curtis
was working the board at the Webster. I think that was all around the same time, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, Ben was cool shit. Fuck Jeff. And then after, because I mean, obviously Ben was presumed dead. They found his phone washed up on the beach in Hawaii or some shit. I think that was he went rock climbing or something. And that's like they found his iPhone or something. It washed up on the beach. They matched it with the serial number.
Yeah.
That was fucking
sad. That shit was tough because that was my during that time. That was I had just started a band called Kill Your Demons.
I remember that band.
And Ben gave us a show with our very first show. I reached out to him. I remember he was looking for an opener for Devil Driver.
Yes.
I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like,
fuck yes.
I sent him a message and everything. This is back when MySpace was the thing. And I told him, I was like, we're a brand new band. We would love for our first show to be Devil Driver. And he denied us. And I was just like, fuck, that like sucks. Really? Yeah, it sucked because that would have been cool.
That was the thing with Ben. It was like he knew that he had to sell tickets. But at the same time, he's like, if you could prove to him that you could bring a crowd, then he would put you on all the fucking good shows.
Well, that was the thing, is that like I don't think people realize that like when you have a band is playing their very first show, they will probably sell more tickets than everybody else, because
absolutely
everybody and their mom is going to buy those tickets. So I kept hitting him up. I was like, we want to play the show. We want to play the show. Give us the opportunity. And he was like, unfortunately, the show's booked, yada, yada, yada. And then he was like, but this is what I'll do for you. We have Wasp. They're
a little bit of a different genre, but hey, fuck it.
Yeah, it wasn't the cup of tea that I wanted to go, but he gave us the show for Wasp, and we sold more tickets. I think we sold like 70 something tickets. So we headlined the second stage, the Underground.
The Underground, yep.
Which I don't know if like you remember this or anything, but the Underground was always way more fun to play than the regular stage, because you're 100%. So much closer. You're so much closer with people. I've always enjoyed playing.
If you were playing the Underground on a packed show, like that was a good fucking show you played. There was a shit ton of people.
So we're playing this show, and my guitarist, it was two guitars, a drummer, and a vocalist. We didn't have a bassist. We were like, I put my low end, I turned those up a little bit. My other guitarist, he turned his low end up a little bit, whatnot. So we took care of the bass. We were like, well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's fine.
So, nobody cares about bassists.
I have a story when you're done about bassists, but continue.
So we had full stacks. We had full stacks and whatnot. So like, because we had full stacks, everybody's like looking and they're like, whoa, these guys have to be something like incredible or whatever, and I was just like, we're not all that. We had it was basically full. The entire underground was full. Our very first show, we opened up for Wasp. It was Wasp in the main stage, and then it was like us and 3 other bands in the underground, and we fucking killed it.
Oh yeah, dude, those are good shows, man. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Like when we played when we played with Suicide Silence in Morning of the Tragedy, we sold hundreds of tickets, fucking hundreds of tickets. And I believe this was when Rudy that was doing the booking at that time. And he's like, listen, you guys fucking blew the tickets out of the water. We need a local band to open the main stage. So we're going to throw you on the main stage. Fucking dude. That show was so good, but like I don't regret playing the main stage because it was an awesome experience playing in front of like, because the main room at the Webster holds like 900 people, 1,000 people, something like that. It's not a huge amount, but it's a good amount of people, and that was a really fun show. But like, people were there for Suicide Silence, like that was, and people were into it. But I know if we would have played the underground, it would have been fucking packed. We would have played in front of 200 people, but those 200 people would have fucking thrown down fucking hard.
Yeah, I never had to open the main stage. I've played the main stage, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times. I played the Curtis Memorial show.
Yep.
Which was fucking hilarious because, fun fact, when Damaged Tone did their reunion,
yep.
You were their number 1 target to play second guitars. I'm not going to mention the other persons. The person.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But you were supposed to be the second guitarist.
Was I was not aware.
Yeah, they wanted you as the second guitarist, but I believe you were going through your phase, like you didn't want to do it or something. And I was just like, I didn't know about this until after I did the show.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. I was like, oh, so I played second fiddle? Like, fuck off.
Listen.
But I totally got it because Joel, Joel, you both being
Joel and I have always been like a pair, basically. So if you needed 1 guitar player, it's like, fuck. I mean, Joel, I'll say this until the day I die. Joel has always been a better guitar player than me. And I know he'll be like, no, you're way better. I'm like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah. I have a story about the better guitar player. Well, so I did that. And it was fun for a little bit. And what's this? That's random as fuck.
We got the comment?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know who that is.
That makes 2 of us.
Huh?
That makes 2 of us.
Cool. I don't know what you're saying, bro, but cool. I didn't even know we had a fucking a viewer. That's fun.
Hey,
even if it's a bot.
For viewers. Yay for viewers.
So so like it took, I think we practiced for like a month and a half, maybe even 2 months, whatever. And Lisa always fucked with me when we were playing Bodies, because I guess that was a song that they covered or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, every time it would be like, let the Bodies, nothing wrong with me. So yep. I would do the counting and whatnot, and every time Lisa would fucking like count in my face, and I'd fuck it up. I was like, you bitch. So
Lisa.
It was good. It was fun. I had fun with that. That was a cool show. I got to meet a lot of people during that time. Not a huge fan of Opus myself, so yeah. But yeah, that was my Gracell Green time, and it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, like
that was one time that I played the main stage, and the other time I played the main stage, it was with my band. What were we called? Dark Tomorrow.
Yep.
And I I had a wireless guitar, wireless setup
For your
and and my dad was at the show. He was out towards the back towards the bar, and I embarrassed the fuck out of my dad because I walked all the way down there and I sat next to him while I was playing the song, and I was just staring at him. Yeah, it was basically like that.
Yep.
And he told me after that, he was like, "I'll never go to another one of your shows." But he went to it. He had gone to a couple of my shows. My stepmom was like, "We're gonna go," because my stepmom's fucking awesome. I mean, my dad's
cool
awesome too, but
no, that's cool, man. Like,
so
that's cool that you can have the opportunity to embarrass your dad at a fucking metal show, you know?
yeah.
So that's a cool opportunity.
Let's move a little forward into everything that's going on now that we're adults with beards and
adults with beards walking down memory lane because we've known each other for the majority of our lives.
Know, after this, dude, I have to say we have to set up something to where like we hang out or something.
Oh, absolutely.
We probably live like fucking 5 miles away from each other.
Dude, if you live like you were telling me where you live, I live probably like 10 minutes away from you, 15 minutes away from you.
I know exactly where you live. You live right off of 140.
Yep.
So if anybody wants to stock him, it's off of 140. I'm off at 83. Good luck.
I've had so many people like fucking because the videos that I make are for some reason controversial, so I get a lot of people sending me threats and telling me that they will kick my ass. So I've seen,
and I actually wanted to get into the into those videos and whatnot, but I've seen some of the comments, and I'm just like, some of the stuff that you post, I might not agree with, but whatever, I'm not going to be like, dude, that nobody agrees with everybody 100% of the time.
No, you can't agree with someone 100% of the time on everything. It's just not possible.
Like we were just talking about the whole like the trans thing with Ace Ventura, and you were like, yeah, that was hard, and I get that from your point of view, and they're like, I think it was absolutely hilarious, but I understand where you're coming from.
Well, again, you always got to take that specifically, the whole Ace Ventura thing. You got to take that with a grain of salt because, like we talked about earlier, that movie was made in the 90s.
Right.
I personally still don't think it's acceptable, but at the same time, that whole thing there was a different mindset in the 90s because that was fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's one of those things where it's like, that's not the hill I'm going to die on because that movie's already made. They've made their millions. Jim Carrey has moved on. And I'm sure if you asked Jim Carrey about it now, he'd be like, yeah, that was something stupid that was in the movie. And, but, I get people liking the movie. It's not a huge thing, but I always tell people like I said, the best thing, Cannibal Corpse. Worst thing, the casual transphobia. But again, that was 30 years ago.
Right. So you started making like light on like TikTok and Instagram, and I started following you. I don't remember how long ago. I think I followed you for a while, and I just like I was not really big on Instagram. And I'm still not. I'm still learning it. I'm more of a Twitter person. Yeah. But I came across some of your content, and I was just like, wow. And I think one of the coolest things that I saw was there was a female who was like, I really want to give a shout out to Mental Misstep and yada, yada, yada. And then you were just like pointing out all these like cool things. You're like, oh, I like your hair. Your hat's cool.
Oh, yeah. That's a friend of mine. Yeah.
And then you said something about like she said like, oh, he's not an asshole, and he's like, fun fact, I am an asshole. And
that actually that is a friend of mine. We actually met on TikTok. Actually, they are a he. They have transitioned. But he is super cool, and I was blown out of the water because their whole video was like, oh, Mental Misstep. they tell it like it is, and they're not an asshole. And I'm like, no, I'm an asshole. Like, I'm definitely an asshole. You ask the people that know me the longest, I'm an asshole about shit like that. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of just say stupid shit on the internet. Well, I shouldn't say stupid shit. I say shit that I feel is important on the internet, but no one has to fucking listen to me. No one has to
you actually have your content is followed pretty well, and whether it be bad, like people talking shit to you or whatever, I've always said there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
But you know, when people talk shit to you and whatnot, like you're a fucking teddy bear in my book.
But you know the secret. Shh, I'm a giant teddy bear. Don't tell.
In no way, shape, or form would I ever want to see you pissed off.
And you know what? Like and that's the thing. Like when I do these videos, like people can fucking talk shit about me all day. I don't fucking care. I honestly don't. Like people
and you're and you're a better man than me because I run another podcast and it's a baseball podcast.
Yep.
And I troll. I do the trolling thing.
Of course.
But I do it towards like the Yankees and whatnot because we're a Red Sox podcast. And when people talk shit about me or my podcast for the longest time, it's like, you know what? Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. You want to come see me? You stop being a keyboard warrior. Here's where you can meet me, blah, blah, blah. And now it's just like somebody says something. I'm just like, no, it's off to the side. Fuck you.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, like people can talk shit about my content all day long. I don't give a fuck. I've had people tell me that they'll kick my ass. I've had people threaten me. I've had people tell me to kill myself. Like all that shit, I don't fucking care. Like to me, I know I can fucking deal with it. I know I can fucking take it and all that shit. And that's when, like, you said I'm a giant teddy bear. You know me as that person because I let shit slide. But when you go after people that I care about, yeah, that's when you get the side of me that most people don't see because, like I said, I'm easygoing. But I've told people I will fucking eviscerate you. Like I said,
no dude, I've known you for 20 some odd years, and yep. I don't think I've ever seen you like angry, like where you're about to fucking like kill somebody or something. Not kill somebody, but like you're gonna fight somebody. And I don't think I'd ever want to see that because of how you've been perceived in my life, like you're not that type of person.
Yeah.
Like if I ever like heard like you went to jail or something, I'd probably show up and be like, here's the money, get him out of jail, like this is a nice guy. There's no fucking way.
There's no way the charges against him are true. I'm gonna bail him out.
So that's your one shot, just so you know.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You need a phone call,
I got you. I appreciate it.
You got my number.
I do, actually. I do have your number. I've had it for years. Long ass fucking time.
So I actually wanted to talk about you and your content and whatnot. Okay. And that was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about and why I wanted to bring you on. I actually kind of wanted to talk about like mental health and whatnot. And
like we were talking about before the show, man. Like whatever you want to ask me about my stuff, whatever you want to ask me about mental health or my my SJW SJW lifestyle.
What does that mean?
So I've had the SJW snowflake thing. People call me SJW snowflake, social justice warrior.
Okay.
And like we could talk about that. Like we could talk about whatever, man.
Yeah, I had no idea what I saw that and I was like, oh. I know you're super like against like racism, as everybody should be.
Yeah, you would think everybody would be against racism, right? But unfortunately,
here's a fucked up thing. And when I was younger, so like I shaved my head. I've always usually kept my my hair pretty short.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was younger, I was living in Enfield. I had a female who had the hots for. And I had been doing a Journal Inquirer paper route That's just showing how long ago it was.
How long
Newspapers
ago?
were still a thing.
The JI paper route? Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I had shaved my head and whatnot, and this girl came up to me, and I had a thing for her, and she goes, she's like, "Are you a skinhead?" And at this time, I was probably like 12, right? I didn't know what a fucking skinhead was. I didn't know that a skinhead was like into the like racism and not including.
There is a very important distinction here because that's not actually true.
I know this now. I know this now, but at this time, that's not where that was going.
Yeah,
it wasn't like the whole political stance and whatnot. It was more into the racism thing, and I didn't know about that. And I was like, well, what do you think? Like, I keep my head really, down to the skin. And so I guess, yeah, I'm a skinhead. And she came back with her boyfriend, who ended up being like a 6 foot something fucking tall black dude. And he came up to me and was like, blah, blah, blah. And then here comes my mom's roommate, who just happens to be like a 6 foot something black dude too. And he's like, Brad, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. Like, I
don't know what's going on. This guy's yelling about me about my haircut.
And then I explained it to him. He was like, oh, he's just misinformed. Like, he didn't understand the question, yada, yada, yada. He was like, I'm his uncle. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, he's my uncle. Like, I've gotten bunched up with that shit way too much. And it's like, I have a cousin who's Mexican. I have like a cousin who's black. I know that doesn't mean you can't be a racist or anything.
No, I got you.
I have my uncle on my mom's side who's got like 10 kids, and every single one of them are biracial, And it's like, no, that's not the type of person I am.
Yeah, no, I've known you for a long time, and I'll tell you, if that's the way that you were, we would not be friends.
You want to fight?
We fight,
yeah.
Throwing fisties, but in the sexy way.
Yeah, we got to do it with our shirts off, though.
Fisties. Oh, wow. Sorry, was that inappropriate? I don't know anymore.
That was funny. So let's get into your content. Yeah. Let's talk about what you do. You do a lot of stuff on Instagram. You do a lot of stuff on TikTok. I started following you more so on TikTok than I do on Instagram. But go ahead and give out your content and whatnot, and tell people where they can follow you and find you on your social. Are you Big Metal Mike everywhere, or
no? So because of like naming restraints and stuff, on YouTube, I am mental misstep. TikTok, I am mental misstep. Twitch, I am mental misstep games. Instagram, I am mental misstep, and on Twitter, I am Big Metal Mike. Those are my socials.
Nice. So what is your content? Like, I seen you doing your Pokemon cards. Are they Pokemon cards?
Magic the Gathering.
I'm so sorry, dude.
Listen, it happens a lot more than you think.
Really?
A lot of people are like, hey, you play Pokemon? I'm like, no, I play Magic, but I have played Pokemon before.
So I'm not into Magic the Gathering, as you can tell, because I probably would have gotten that right. Like, I'm not the type of person that's into that. But you do content, what is it, once a week, where you're like, you open a pack and you show people the cards that you get?
So it was this thing I started a little while ago. I actually have to get back into it. I call it What's the Pick Wednesday, because so there's different ways you could play Magic, right? Different formats. I like to draft. So for those of you, yeah, exactly. So for anyone watching this here, if they listen to it if they listen to the podcast, watch it on YouTube, or anyone that is in the TikTok live here, when you draft,
you're live on TikTok, huh?
I am. So you sit at a table with 7 other players, so there's 8 total. Each of you get 3 15-card booster packs, and you open the first one, you go through the pack, you pick the card that you want, and then you pass the rest of the pack to your left. And that's what every player does until all the cards are gone. Then you open your second pack, take the card out that you want, and then you pass the packs to the right. They go around the table until all the cards are gone and picked. Then you open your third pack. You pick the card you want. You pass the packs to the left. Everyone does the same thing. So when you're done, you're going to have a deck. You make, basically what you do is you make a deck, and then you play against players that are, they call it a pod, that are sitting at your draft table. You play against people in your pod, and then you kind of, that's how you play. They call it limited or like draft. That's how you play draft. I like playing draft because as somebody that grew up rather poor, money and disposable income. Hey, Jimmy.
You know why I did that, right?
Jimmy, no.
My name is Jimmy now.
Your name is Jimmy now?
No, you made it on one of your TikToks.
Oh, that's right. My name is Jimmy. My name is Jimmy now. Because, sometimes you just, my name is Jimmy. Yeah, because it was the pegging video.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy.
It was a video about pegging. I love that audio because the audio is like, hey, I forget exactly how it is, but like, talking to somebody, hey, my name is so-and-so.
I wouldn't have pegged you as a Jimmy.
I wouldn't have pegged you as a Jimmy.
What's my name? You gotta
be Peggy, man.
I have a story I want to tell you.
Woo.
It's about pegging too, and it's so.
Okay, so let me just put this out there right now. 100% into it. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And for anybody watching, if you have not, I recommend it.
Not the route that I was thinking we were going to go.
Continue. I derailed the podcast here. I apologize.
I kind of did that too. So one of my friends, this woman that I've known since AOL, not AOL Messenger, like AOL, like when it was like
the dial-up fucking modem.
Yeah. So since then, I've known her for probably longer than I've known you. Ooh. And I've only met her once in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So when she found out about my ex-girlfriend and I, when we separated and whatnot, mm-hmm. She was like, "Oh, hey, I want you to meet my friend. She lives out in Colorado." And I'm like, I don't know what this has got to do with the price of tea in China, but I'm going to do it. I'll talk to her.
Yeah.
I'll talk to her and whatnot. And somehow we just got into this whole like talk about sex.
Yep.
Which I don't know how we got into this. And then I asked her, I was like, well, what's your fetish? And she tells me pegging. And I'm just like, I've never done it. Not into that. When it comes to butt stuff, I'm not that type of person. I don't like tell people, no, that's fucking disgusting or anything. That if you want to do it, that's your thing. I'm starting to like now just get open into like talking about this stuff. So like saying like, hey, this is the stuff that I'm into. So I was talking to her last night and she was was it last night? It was the night before, whatever. And she tells me about this back, and I was like, my first instinct was no, thanks.
Well, you know what it is like. It's one of those things where I've made videos about pegging and people are like, that's gay. I'm like, it's if it was, that's fine, but it's actually not, because the other person involved is not a man. It's a woman with a fucking strap on going to town on your butt.
Well, here's the one thing that like I was talking to somebody about this. I was like, would you ever let it? I always get people uncomfortable when I talk about this at work. There's this one
I'm never uncomfortable.
I was talking to this guy at work one day, and I was like, "Yeah, you ever lick a girl's butthole?" And he's like, "That sounds fucking disgusting. Why would you do that?" I was like, "It sounds disgusting until you do it." And I was like, when you go down there and you fucking toss that salad, you're just like, you don't realize that you're tossing that you're fucking tongue punching that fart box. You're fucking.
I can't. Tongue punching the fart box. I love it.
That or tongue punching the turd cutter.
Yeah.
Um,
Same difference.
it is the exact same thing. So we talk about it all the time, and then like I'll bring in older people into the conversation. We're like, you ever like tongue punch a girl's fart box? And they're like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm like, you ever lick girl's ass? I'm like, nah, that's fucking gross. Like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, man, you guys don't know what the fuck you're missing.
Nope.
Like,
Yeah.
so like I just started getting into like being able to accept that people are into stuff, say like pegging, the dudes who are into like sharing their girlfriends with other dudes and stuff. Like I've just started like understanding, like I'm not into that, but I understand it now, you know. Like,
listen, if you have any questions, listen, because like, okay, so I may not look it, but I am a sick fuck when it comes to that shit. There's very few things I won't do. My lines are drawn, and they're hard lines, but there's very few hard lines.
Was that a point intended or a pun intended?
Always.
Hard lines.
Hard lines. Always pun intended.
So, I'll talk to you about something offline.
Yeah, we can talk after.
Yeah, but I've just started like being able to like open my head to the like people telling me things like that, and
listen, man, I always tell people life's too short to fucking get hung up on what kind of sexual stuff people are into.
Yep.
As long as all people participating
are okay
consenting,
with it. You're right.
Like, then who the fuck cares? Like,
right, exactly.
Who actually cares if someone likes to share their girlfriend or wife? Who the fuck cares if someone likes to get it in the butt from a girl wearing a strap on? Who the fuck cares if people are into fucking choking or like BDSM, or like, life's way too fucking short to be hung up on shit like that.
So that whole fucking pegging thing kind of threw me off, I guess.
I see, whenever I talk about pegging, it always derails the conversation. I do apologize.
No, it's totally fine. I mean, you want to talk about it, so I don't want to keep you too long. I know you probably don't care, but
no, it was clever, man. Like, I mean, I'm shooting over to Walmart to it's my nephew's birthday tomorrow, so I got to pick him up a gift. I just came back to the States, so I got to do some shopping.
So why did you just come back to the States?
So I came back from Canada. I was in Canada for about 2 weeks.
And before you get further into this, I just want to say I told you off air before we started recording this. Like, I know the two of your past relationships, and I remember when I don't know if it's okay to say her name or not, but when the whole thing with your ex-wife Heather happened, and you were just going through a whole, it was kind of like a mental breakdown.
100%. I fucking snapped. That's actually after that whole thing happened with my ex. That's when I tried to kill myself.
So we'll talk about that in a moment. But okay. I'm glad it didn't work out. You know, both of us, we have that in common.
Yes, we do.
But you and I got kind of really close right after that. Like, we would talk on a regular basis. I think we were talking on Skype maybe like once or twice a week.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was back when I was living on Elm Corners in Windsor Locks. And then I remember that you found your now ex-wife as well, Megan.
Yep.
And I was like super fucking pumped about it. I was super happy that you found her and whatnot. And that whole story was pretty cool and whatnot. And then, you know, we ran into each other at Walmart, and then you told me the whole situation. You were like, you didn't tell me the situation. You didn't just come out and say that. I was like, oh, tell Megan I said hi. And you were like, yeah, I'll make sure to fucking tell her. You know, like I thought you were being sarcastic, but you were being like for real. You're like, yeah, I don't talk to her or something like that.
Yeah, I could have handled that better, but
it was fresh after. So if Megan ends up watching this or whatnot, I know you guys are friends now.
Yeah.
But at that time it was like a fresh cut. It was a fresh wound. So
yeah, that was fresh. I wasn't in the best space after the whole separation from my second ex-wife. And if she does watch this, yeah, we're cool. I mean, I was upset at first, obviously, but you know what? After like therapy and all that stuff, like I can admit I did some fucked up shit, and you know, we were both living together while we were separated, and it was very tense for both of us, and we both said and did things that at least I know, and I've talked to her about it, and we do regret some of the things that were said, and we do regret some of the things that were done, and you know, we've apologized to each other, and we've come to a good place, and we can talk about it and kind of just move on, you know. But one of the important things that I took away from that whole relationship was, you know, I am not infallible. Like I've done fucked up shit. I've said fucked up shit. And one of the most important things for me was to be able to not only acknowledge it, to kind of like own it, you know, like, yeah, I said fucked up things. I did fucked up things. There's nothing I can say or do to make it better, but I can apologize, I can move on, and I can be better. So that's what therapy has helped me do.
And I'm glad that you are able to go through that and whatnot. And then just recently, so we were talking about how you just came back to the States.
Mm-hmm.
You were in Canada.
Yep.
Not going to say their name, but
yep.
You went to Canada for a special reason. And
yes.
I follow you on TikTok. And when I found out the reasoning why you went to Canada, because actually, I think it was the day before you went to Canada, I found out that you were going to Canada, because I sent you a message. I was like, hey, man, I would love to get you on the podcast. Mm-hmm. So that we could talk, because it's been a while since we actually just bullshit.
Just sat down and bullshit. Yeah, it's been a long time.
So, I mean, like, this is fucking cool as shit.
Absolutely.
To his friends. I've had Soto on before, Mike Soto.
Nice.
Yeah, we sat here just bullshitted about music for fucking like an hour.
That's awesome.
Which is fucking hilarious. And I gotta say, dude, the reason why you went to Canada made me happy. Like, and I'm not that type of person. I don't usually get happy for other people. Mm. But then when I see somebody that I personally know who has been through the bullshit, like, we have more in common than a lot of people think. I mean, like,
oh, absolutely.
Okay, we grew up in Windsor Locks, you know, we're metal fans and whatnot, but like mentally we have like that, like, you went through your shit with Heather, you went through your shit with Megan, and then like seeing, you know, you going to Canada for that reason and seeing you happy. Like, I was upset that you were coming back to the States.
Fun fact, I almost didn't get back to the States. It was a fucking clusterfuck.
But I honestly was just like, I when I found out you were going to Canada for that reason, and I was just like, dude, just stay there, you know, like, you're happy, you know. Yeah. So I was genuinely happy for somebody else, and that was you, you know.
Well, dude, I fucking appreciate it, man. That means a lot, you know. I appreciate that. Well, first of all, I appreciate you for reaching out to me and asking me to come on the show. Thank you very much. And then I really appreciate you saying that, because, like, yeah, I've been through some shit, and, you know, some of it was my own doing, some of it was not my own doing. But to be in a place where now it's like, you know what, like, I can say, like, I'm probably in the best position of my life I've ever been in. I'm working on my mental health, and I'm trying to be better, you know, in all aspects of my life, which is fucking hard. Yeah. But I went to Canada. I met someone on TikTok. Their name is Vapor Fairy, for those of you that would like to know. I met Vapor Fairy on TikTok, and we hit it off real quick. And we decided to just kind of see where it goes, and we got to a point where it's like we have to see each other. And this was like right before fucking COVID. So like
you've known each other for at least 2 years.
Yeah, we've officially been together, 2 different countries, 3,000 miles apart, but we've officially been together. It'll be 2 years in June. And we had our first ever IRL meeting last month. And I just came back Wednesday. I came back, and dude, it was fucking phenomenal. Like it was everything that I thought it would be, and more.
I gotta say, man, like I saw her content, and like I now follow her. So
thank you.
On TikTok, and I was like, when she was making content about you, like saying how awesome you were, I was like, yeah, you've only seen him for 2 weeks or whatever. Like, imagine knowing him for 20 years. Like, I know, like, I think you're probably one of the coolest people that I've met in Windsor Locks, not just in Windsor Locks, but as a person.
You're
like,
too fucking nice to me, dude.
I'm not
it, man.
I'm not trying to stick my nose up your ass or anything.
No, not at all.
It's like, it's factual, dude. You're one of the coolest. You're one of the nicest. I don't think you and I have ever had, like, if we had a disagreement, it wasn't like you and I arguing at something. No. You're one of those people where, like, I don't think I could ever be mad at, even if you did something to anger me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same thing, man. Like, there's like we could always sit down and talk shit out if we ever had an issue like that, but we've never had an issue like that,
Yeah, I've had issues with probably everybody and their fucking mother, and you're just one of those people I've never had a fucking issue with. Like, you might say things that I disagree with, but you know what I do is I just don't try to, I don't push the buttons when it comes to you. Other people, I'd be like, fuck them, fuck that person,
fuck that dude.
I'll do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say, I think it's cool. If anybody here does not follow Mike, I'll tell you right now, even if you don't agree with some of the content that he creates and whatnot, he's a good follow. He's definitely a good follow. And I get a chuckle out of some of the stuff that you post. And you're one of the few people that I do follow on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You and your girlfriend now are one of the few people. There's another person.
Well, they appreciate it too. Thank you.
There's other people that I follow, but it's for like baseball content. So.
Baseball stuff. Yeah, I don't know sports. I don't pretend to know sports. I do a lot of different shit, but sports is not one of them.
So me with my baseball stuff is like you with your Magic the Gathering stuff,
mm-hmm.
or Pokemon stuff, whatever you want to call it.
the Pokemon stuff.
Right. So yeah, you just met her for the first time 2 weeks ago in real life.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And was this the first time you've ever been to Canada?
No. My father's family, like I mentioned earlier, is from Montreal. But I've been, so now I've been to Canada. This last trip was my 5th trip to Canada. Beautiful country. I'm thinking about moving, and like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to figure out, is it better for me to retain dual citizenship? Is it better for me to pay the breakup with America tax? Is it, because it cost, dude, it's like, it's almost $3,000 to renounce your American citizenship. I affectionately refer to it as the breakup with America tax.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yep. Dual citizenship is nice because, you know, I can travel back and forth freely. You know, I'd have 2 passports, all that good stuff. The only downside, and I don't even know if you would consider it a downside, but like I can't hold like intelligence positions. Like I wouldn't be able to work for the Canadian government. I wouldn't be able to be a spy. I wouldn't be like there's certain things I couldn't do in Canada if I were to go.
I mean, are those things that you'd want to do anyways?
Yeah, imagine me as a fucking spy, dude. Like, let's be real.
Pegging!
walking into the offices. Hey, who got pegged this weekend? Anybody? No,
Jimmy.
No, nobody. Okay. Well, y'all are a bunch of fucking cowards. Be like, you okay? No, I'm not. But yeah, no. And the only other thing is basically there's a lot of other things, but the only other big thing is basically to maintain your tax exempt, because when you move and you declare dual citizenship, I don't know what it's like for other countries, but in Canada, if your yearly income is, I think it's less than like 115 or 120,000, the government won't take income tax from you. The American government won't take income tax. So basically you have to give them access to look at your bank account whenever the fuck they want.
Nah, I'm all set with that shit.
I was like, listen, if they want to fucking look at my fucking $30 fucking balance and they want to see I spent fucking way too much money on fucking DoorDash, I don't fucking care. Like, whatever, dude.
Oh man, DoorDash is absolutely the worst. So
I fucking love DoorDash.
It's fun, but it's when you get COVID, it's not.
Yeah, I could see that.
So last week, I actually ended up with COVID on New Year's Eve. Or I ended up testing myself for COVID on New Year's Eve. So I'm not sure if that was just the day that I had it or whatever. But I DoorDashed fucking 3 days in a row. And I DoorDashed some Kentucky Fried Chicken.
KFC.
Yeah, well, KFC isn't supposed to be fucking $60 worth.
No.
I bought like a $20-something bucket of chicken. And like I'm a small dude, but I can eat like a motherfucker, you know? And when you get me some fried chicken, I'll eat all of that motherfucker.
Fuck yeah.
So I ordered myself some KFC and it ended up being like $56.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, there's that. And then like the other day, I bought stuff from a pizza place. It was $60. I'm like, I gotta stop doing this.
Yeah, it's like so they offer the Dash Pass, which is basically their monthly subscription where you don't pay for fucking you don't pay for like a delivery fee, you don't pay the convenience fee. But that's only worth it if you're ordering like 5, 6, 7 times a month from DoorDash. If you're not, then it's just you're wasting money.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that use DoorDash that often. I live close enough to where you live. I get it. I would understand like having DoorDash.
Yep.
Because you live like fucking on the other side of the town where everything is, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, like I could go. There's 3 fast food places. They're all in one area. But like if I wanted something different, like I'm fucking Enfield, fucking
I mean
Manchester, fucking
East
like that's like a 20-25 minute drive.
East Windsor's got Taco Bell, KFC,
mm-hmm.
Which I always thought was a weird combination. Like you have chicken and then fucking tacos. That makes no sense to me. In the same place. Wendy's.
That's yeah. Oh, there's a Burger King too. There's a Burger King. There's a Burger King down the street. So I have 4.
Oh, Subway?
No, that Subway's gone.
Yeah, but you still have Subway in Sophia's Plaza.
Yes, you're right. There is a Subway in Sophia's. Yep.
And then you have Dunks.
Oh, there's like 6 Dunks here. It's fucking ridiculous.
So fucking stupid. There's literally 3 Dunkin' Donuts all on the same road within a mile of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You have the one at the fucking what is it? Noble gas station.
Yep.
Then like a quarter of a mile down the road, you have a stand-up Dunkin' Donuts.
Dude, not even. I'd say it's like.
Yeah, it's definitely not even a quarter of a mile.
Maybe like 1,000 feet. Like it's
super
it's fucking close.
It's so fucking. And then probably not even another quarter of a mile. There's a fucking Dunkin' Donuts right next to the Burger King. In the Shell station.
Yep, there's one in the Shell station. And then if you go down Route 5 towards the Walmart, there's one down there next to the Cumberland Farms. And then if you go like another 2 miles down the road, there's another one across the street near the 7-Eleven.
Yep, that one's next to the auction flash.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking ridiculous how many Dunkin' I have near my place.
There are way too many Dunkin' Donuts in that town.
Mm-hmm. You know what they say? American runs on Dunkin'.
I'm a Starbucks guy myself.
Me too. Fucking Starbucks is on point.
The COVID's fucking hit the Starbucks next to me.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, they're only open like a couple hours a day or some shit like that. I think they're open like until 1 or some shit like that because they can't have a crew there. I'm almost debating on like applying there just so that I can be like, all right, so I can get my coffee fixed. So so I wanted to say thank you to somebody else out here. Actually, I want to say thank you to your girlfriend, Vapor Fairy. I didn't want to like pry too far in here.
I appreciate it.
I definitely want to say thank you for keeping my boy happy, making him happy. I'm not trying to be all jelly here or whatever. I'm kind of jelly. I really do enjoy the fact that seeing you smile, dude, and seeing someone actually give a shit about you in that loving manner. So if that means that I lose having you like closer to me as a friend, because I consider you a good friend.
Absolutely.
And even though that we haven't talked in like many years and stuff, it's just like we picked up and just like fucking just started talking randomly.
Yeah, I mean it says something when you haven't talked to somebody in a couple of years. You have like a 5-minute conversation and it's like y'all never fucking parted ways.
Right. I mean, here we are. You know, first, the other thing I wanted to say, I apologize. I was late.
Oh, dude, whatever. I was playing Elder Scrolls Online.
So to everybody out there, so we were supposed to start the podcast at 6:00, and Mike ended up taking the day off from work, but I had to work, and I have been up since 3:00 this morning. It's now 9:00 at night, and I sent Mike a message. I was like, "Hey man, it's like 4:30, whatever. I'm ready to go if you want to go now." And you're like, "Oh, I'll wait till 6:00." And I'm like, "All right, I'll go take a nap." And I'm usually really good with my alarm. I guess I set the alarm but forgot to put it on.
I've done that many fucking times.
I laid down in bed just like to take a nap or whatever. And then I wake up, it's like 7:10, and I'm like, fuck. And then I come in here and you're in the studio, and I'm just like, oh, he's here. And I'm like, how long have you been here? You're like, oh, about an hour. I was like, what the fuck, dude? I would have left.
Well, that was the thing. Like, so like I did my lighting. I was like, fuck, okay, got my lighting set up. And it was like 6:15. And I was like, hey, I'm ready to go. And I didn't hear from you. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe you're busy or sleeping or something. So
I was sleeping.
I'm sitting, I affectionately refer to my area, my studio. It has my lighting and my monitors and computer and everything as my command center. So I'm sitting at my command center and I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm just going to boot up fucking Elder Scrolls Online and see what happens.
If he comes on, he comes on. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Yeah, I started playing ESO and, you know, you're like, you're still here. I'm like, oh yeah, I am still here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm usually one of those people that are like, I have to be on time for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
Like my boss is like, when he does my review every year, it's like, on time, without fail, basically. You know, like
Yeah.
my 20 plus years of working, I think you could probably count on like one hand how many times I've been late to work,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. But uh-oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, my computer's being fucking stupid.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't shut it off for a week.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it probably should restart my computer at some point.
Okay.
Now, yeah,
Update Windows.
now I'm getting that fucking like, it's not responding fucking thing. So like my screens are all fucking whited out. Yeah. So now
I had an issue when I was doing my 24-hour Twitch stream for the Connecticut Children's Hospital.
Oh yeah. How was that, dude?
That was fucking phenomenal. So many people, like we raised just over $300. People were donating, people were having fun in chat, like we played so many games. It was a great time. It is something I will be doing yearly. It was a really great experience. The people over at Extra Life, they're absolutely fucking phenomenal. They do so many great things. I was just honored to be able to be a part of it, you know.
How did you get that set up?
Honestly, so what you do is if anyone is ever interested in doing an Extra Life in the future, you can sign up right on the Extra Life website. You enter in your information, you enter in your social media stuff. Like I did mine on Twitch. You can do it on YouTube Gaming. You can do it on Facebook Gaming. However you want to broadcast your charity stream, you can however you want. But basically it took like 10-15 minutes. They took my information. They said, hey, you're going to be raising, because what Extra Life is they're part of the Children's Miracle Network. And basically they're a charity that helps put gamers in relationships with their local children's hospitals. And
that's awesome.
They handle all the, like, people donate, they take the donations, 100% of the donations go to the hospital. They take care of all that stuff, the donations made in your name. And they said, hey, you're going to be raising money for the Connecticut Children's Hospital out of Hartford. And, that was it. I picked the game day. They have a game day every year. This year was November 6th. So I promoted the shit out of it. We had a really great turnout. My computer got a little wonky for a while there, but we ended really strong. And like I said, we did raise a good amount of money, and I'm hoping to smash that next year.
Yeah, definitely, dude. If something like when you go to do something like that again, definitely let me know.
Absolutely.
I will promote it through both my podcasts,
I appreciate it.
throughout my social media. Children's Hospital is fucking. That's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask though.
Yeah.
How did you feel after the 24 hours? Like, were you ready to go to sleep?
So, dude, So a little side story about that. So that week was Megan and I, my ex, had decided that we were going to put one of our dogs down.
Opie?
Yeah, she had bone cancer and it was like spreading to her lungs. So she was like, hey, we're going to do it this weekend. And it was we did it the Friday before the charity stream. So I left work Thursday. I left at like 3:30, took a flight to Virginia, got to Virginia Thursday night.
Is that where Megan is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Took a flight to Virginia Thursday night. I stayed at like a Red Roof Inn or something. And then I woke up Friday morning. She texted me. There was a Wawa down the street. So I'm like, hey, I'm just going to walk down to the Wawa. She picked me up at the Wawa. We had breakfast. We caught up a little bit. She took me back to her place. I met her new partner. Super amazing, by the way.
This wasn't the same partner that she was with?
No, she met them down in Virginia.
Okay.
So met her new partner. They're absolutely fantastic, and Megan's super happy, and I'm super stoked that Megan's happy. That like I said earlier, I always wanted her to be happy. So she's happy. It was great. It sucked to meet her partner in such like a shitty situation,
Right.
but
I gotcha.
so we got to Megan's place. We hung out for a little bit. Her partner came over. I met them. The vet came over. We did the whole thing. We put Maya down, and then Megan was
why was I thinking Opie?
no. Well, we had the two dogs, but Maya, the German Shepherd.
Okay.
Well, the German Shepherd Newfoundland mix.
Okay. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So then
now it makes more sense. My
like,
condolences, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It was it was fucking hard. I'm glad I got to see her.
People don't realize that animals are, family.
They are. Like we talk all the time. Like the dogs are our kids, you know.
Right.
Like it might sound stupid to people that don't have pets like that, but like they were a huge part of our lives, and you know, like it sucked. It fucking sucked. I fucking hated doing it, but it was either that or like she was gonna just stop breathing one day. So it was like, all right, we got to do this.
Yeah.
So I took in after, like right after we finished, I brought Maya out to the car, and they took her to the crematorium, and then I called an Uber, went to the airport Friday, flew back to Connecticut, landed at like 5:30 ish. Got a bunch of I went to the Walmart, got a bunch of stuff I needed for the stream. Woke up Saturday morning, set up all my stuff, and then I streamed for 24 hours.
Oh Jesus, that just suck.
Yeah, it was like when I first started, I was like, yeah, because we did noon Saturday to noon Sunday.
How many Monsters / Red Bulls did you have?
Actually, I didn't do energy drinks. I have G Fuel, and I pounded coffee like a fucking beast, dude. But yeah, we did that, and fucking the community showed up, and they fucking killed it. And at first it was like I was fine, like I'm like, yeah, we're fucking killing it, blah blah blah. So around 10 o'clock, I was like, all right, like I'm crashing hard. So and after the previous couple days, people were like, listen, why don't you just go fucking take a little nap and then come back in a couple hours. We'll all come back and we'll pick it up. And
nope.
That's what happened. Like I woke up, my computer fucking went down. Shit was fucked up. So I played IT for a couple hours, and then I finally got it back running, and then we finished off the stream. It sucked that we had to cut it in half like that, but you know, you do what you got to do.
Next year you'll do a full 24.
Next year I'm going to do a whole 24. I mean, I tell people, like, people don't know, like when they watch my stream, they don't know when I tell them, but I do all of my Twitch stuff off of a $200 used laptop.
Really?
Yes.
Is this a laptop or?
Yes, this is the laptop. I'm using my Logitech 1080p webcam. I've got my microphone here. This is all going straight through that same $200 used laptop.
I have a $200 desktop.
Yep. I have learned to become my own IT guy. So
I actually have two computers set up right here. I have a monitor here, and then a monitor over here, and then I have my computer set up to my TV, which is up there.
Yep.
So that's where I watch like FUBU and stuff like that. And then I bought my nephew a computer for Christmas, and it's over here, right?
Yeah.
And fucked up thing is, it's like, oh, it was a Christmas present, and why do you still have it? It's January 7th. So my brother caught COVID on Christmas.
Yep.
I caught COVID for New Year's Eve.
Yep.
And his girlfriend is just getting over having COVID too.
Ugh.
So, like, we're gonna have to do like Christmas and New Year's all together.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with the whole COVID thing, it's just been really hard. Even
I'm
like,
just lucky. I'm lucky enough that the COVID, when I got COVID, like I was sick for about a day and a half.
mm-hmm.
And the worst part of my sickness was the fact that I had diarrhea.
Really?
Yeah, that was the worst part of it. Like I didn't catch a fever. I had a it was 99 at 99 was my temp.
Yep.
That was the highest it went. So I never broke like 100, 101. Like I've seen a couple people, they posted up that they were at like 102.3, shit like that.
Yeah, a lot of people,
whoa.
if they weren't vaccinated, they were hitting over 100 like regularly.
Yeah, and so I was lucky enough that diarrhea was my biggest concern. And let me tell you, dude, like when I say I had diarrhea, it's not just like, oh, it's like full on, like I ate fucking Taco Bell for 3 days straight and just like my digestive system was just like.
Now, if we're talking about diarrhea, let me tell you something. I have to go for a colonoscopy.
Really? How old are you? You're 36, right?
36, yeah. So
isn't that usually like a 45? It's something you do at like 40, 45?
So here's the fun story. A couple months ago, I had lower abdomen
you found out
pain.
that you liked. This is where you found out you liked pegging.
Oh no! I knew about that before. All it takes to get into pegging is that one finger at first, and then you're just hooked. Get it? Hooked. Sorry, I'll see myself out. Anyway, so I had lower abdomen pain. It was a Sunday. This is when I worked 7 days a week. I had 2 jobs. I was working at a barbershop as like I called myself the laundry bitch. Okay. My boss said, "You're more than a laundry bitch." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really a laundry bitch." So if my old boss watches this, Eleni, you're amazing. I love you. I'm still a laundry bitch. I called out of work and I go to the walk-in in South Windsor there. And they're like, there's blood in your urine. You got to go to the ER. So I went to Hartford, went to the ER. I was there for like 6 hours. I had I had a CT scan done. And they're like, hey, you have inflammation in your abdomen. We think it's diverticulitis. You need to schedule. So the doctor comes in, and I shit you not, dude, this is the exact conversation. The doctor comes in. Yeah, so we noticed there's inflammation in your abdomen. We recommend that you go for a colonoscopy. It's not a big deal. It's very routine. They take a camera. It's not a big deal. Like, it doesn't hurt. And they put the camera in and they look around your colon, but it's not a big deal. It's fine. And I look at the doctor dead in the face. I said, listen, I have toys bigger than a fucking camera at home. I'm not worried about it.
And then I bet you his eyes are like, okay then.
So no. The doctor looks at me dead in the face and I could see him. He's trying so hard not to fucking laugh, right? I look at him. I was like, you can laugh. It's fine. And he starts laughing. So that's, yeah. So I have to go for a colonoscopy. This goes back to diarrhea, believe it or not. So I meet the GI, the people over at CTGI. Huh?
Does it have to do with the juice that they give you?
Yeah, that's what they told me. They're like, listen, we're gonna call and schedule your colonoscopy, but I will tell you, I would recommend getting a comfortable toilet seat because the day before they're gonna have you drink this liquid. You can't eat anything. You can't drink anything. You can only drink this liquid. And literally the woman at the CTGI, my doctor, was like, you will not be able to get off the toilet for hours. Like it just doesn't happen. It's just, you're there. It like this liquid is specifically meant to
cleanse your asshole.
Everything, like everything. Like the fucking steak I had 4 years ago, that shit's coming out. Like everything comes out with this liquid. So she's like, get a comfortable toilet seat because you will be on it for a very long time.
Oh man. Now so yeah, it probably wasn't that bad, but yeah, it was like I was sitting in my living room watching TV, laying down on the couch,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like I got hit in my stomach and I ran. I fucking like ran to the bathroom. Like if I didn't run, I was shitting myself. You know, so I sat there for about 10, 15 minutes. Then I was like, all right, I'm good. So I go back to the couch. Literally like 2 minutes later, it's like gotta run to the bathroom again. I lost like 6 to 7 pounds in a matter of like 3 days.
Waterway, dude.
It was fucking crazy.
So I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but I have firsthand experience, and I can tell you that the stories are true. Just go on Amazon and look up sugar-free gummy bears. And there will be a review about a gentleman who ate some when he was in an airport. If you want to laugh,
gummy bears, you said?
Sugar, it has to be specifically sugar-free.
Sugar-free gummy bears?
Yep.
Hold on.
So if you go through the reviews, it's a Haribo, I believe it's the Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. If you go through the reviews, and you'll see one that's like pages long. When you have a little free time, do yourself a favor and read that review, because I promise you, it may sound like they're exaggerating, but they are not. They are not exaggerating.
So I pulled it up. I'm trying to find it. Here, hold on. Let me.
Yeah, do your thing.
No, I'm going to share it with you. All right. So, all right. So sugar-free gummy bears are up here, right?
Yep.
And just look at the customer reviews.
Just look at the customer reviews.
For right here?
Yeah, but you're going to have to go to the sugar-free ones. Those are the sugar-free ones?
I mean, I put in sugar-free.
You have to... like.
Oh, yeah, is it laxative?
Yes. So that one right there, the second one? Nope, down.
Oh, this one.
That one right there.
$116?
It's a 5-pound bag. If you scroll down,
it's 6 per case. Okay.
Yeah, that don't matter. But if you're looking, oh my goodness, if you look through the reviews,
okay, here we go.
Just keep scrolling down. You'll see one. You'll know it when you see it. The shit's like pages long.
Why is it? No, it's not.
Oh, is that not the one?
No, it's only got 2 global reviews and 5 global ratings. One of them says these are true Haribo gummy bears. I like the bulk pricing. Blah blah blah. This one says excellent. So that's not that one.
Let me see if I can find it. I went through the review a couple weeks ago, and holy shit, like I've never laughed so fucking hard in my entire life.
Is it something we can read over?
Yeah,
over
no.
this?
When I find it, I can read it. Like it's
no. You gotta fucking shoot me the link so that I can put it up on the screen.
Yeah, I'll fucking once I find it. Let me see here.
Maybe they took it down. It's a laxative, right?
So the sugar-free alternative that they use acts as a laxative. Let me see here.
Right, hold on. Here, I'm gonna do brand.
I know it's here.
How long ago did you read this review?
A couple weeks ago.
It,
I forget. Oh, it took me a little while to find. Because it starts off, this guy's like, I was going to the airport for a flight, and I took these guys, and he goes on and on about his entire experience at the airport. And the dude like talks about like it's so fucking funny.
Like, I really want to read it now.
Let me see. I just fucking saw it. Let me see here. Come on. Let me see.
Like, I am intrigued now.
Dude, I'm telling you. Let's see. Oh, is it this one? Come on. Okay.
Oh, hold on. I found one. No, this one was from fucking 2015. You found it?
There are
Do you
some.
see?
There's one
Dude,
here. Shall my rectum experience the same foul demons as these people's are?
What in the fuck, dude? This one says, this is the go-go. Do Haribo, is that how you say that? Haribo?
Haribo? I believe it's Haribo, yeah.
Yeah. Sugar-free gummy bears really give you diarrhea. In the case of Haribo sugarless gummies, the sugar alcohol culprit is maltitol, which is found in the ingredient lycosine. But this isn't the only sugar alcohol and could lead to unpleasant digestive systems. Why sugar-free gummy bears hurt your bowels?
Dude, it's a real fucking thing. I shit you not, dude. Pun intended.
More than 100 consumers of the 5-pound bag of sweets have posted reports of calamitous flatulence and sudden bowel evacuation.
Dude,
like, what the fuck? Dude, gummy bears have a laxative effect. What happens if you eat sugar-free gummy bears? Why do Haribo sugar-free gummy bears make you poop? Why does sugar-free candy give me diarrhea? Does sugar-free pudding cause diarrhea? Are jelly babies a laxative? What artificial sweeteners give you diarrhea?
Like, I fucking wish I could find it because this shit is absolute fucking gold.
Here, hold on. Gummy bears airport review. Gummy bear review airport. Let me see. Oh, hold on. I think I found it.
Oh, did you?
Oh, no. Maybe not. Is this it?
Nope, that's the one. That's the fucking one, dude.
Is it? Holy
that's
shit,
the fucking one.
Holy fuck.
That's the fucking one. Hell, it's no surprise for me anymore.
This is a cautionary tale, and unlike most of the other reviews on this product, this is a true story, and its authenticity can be qualified by a small news item that appeared in the Toronto Star's local news section during the month of April of 2013, much to my chagrin. I would consider myself a prudent man, not given to bouts of outspokenness or craving attention, and certainly not. This is fucking great already.
Oh yeah, dude.
Certainly not one to rock the boat. On any given day, I can be found reading a crime novel on a park bench. We're just getting to know this guy's fucking life story here.
We are getting to know this gentleman's story, all right.
Park bench in the middle of the city, soaking in the opulence of nature while nibbling on my tuna fish sandwiches and fending off ferocious gulls and squirrels. that threaten to spoil my repose. This is me, law-abiding and introspective, which is why it came as a shock to me to find myself incarcerated because of the devil's confectionery, Satan's sweetmeat, Lucifer's lozenges, the horror that is known as Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. This is already fucking amazing.
Dude, it gets so much better.
So like here's the entire fucking thing. It literally is a fucking novel here. But all right, so he goes, now I'd to pause here in the store. Nope. I hadn't eaten since lunch.
So do you want me, because I've read it already, so do you want me to read it that way you can just laugh?
I mean, sure, you can go ahead. I'll set the scene is where I'm at.
All right. For those of you watching, we are reading the review for Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. Here we go. I'll set the scene. It was late winter, early spring in Toronto, and the city had just been digging itself out from a late season snowstorm. I was heading to Pearson International Airport. Fun fact, I flew into Pearson, great airport, for a red-eye flight to Amsterdam in order to give the Dutch arm of our company some training on the new software that has been installed. I'm deliberately being vague to prevent my place of work from being linked in any way to the incident that occurred. I had just finished packing, checked the time, and found I was running late for my flight at 7:10 p.m., and it was now almost 5 p.m. Cursing softly, I ran out of the car and threw my bags in the trunk, hitting the gas a little harder than usual in my haste to make the long-term parking lot as soon as possible. Luckily, traffic was light on the 401, and I made it to the airport in record time, but knew that my chances of making the flight were still at risk if I didn't use my time wisely. I hadn't eaten since lunch, and I was feeling a bit hungry, my stomach rumbling loudly in protestation, which caused me to look around at the other travelers rushing past me in the busy terminal. Mortified that my bodily noises might be heard by others, I briskly checked my watch and decided that I had enough time to grab a quick snack before going through the baggage check and security, and would get something more substantial once I checked through security. I spotted a vending machine nestled in a relatively low traffic corner of the terminal and rushed over, already pulling out my credit card and mentally assessing what I had a craving for so as to save time interacting with the machine. My eyes scanned the colorful array of confection quickly, coming to rest on a tantalizing rainbow-colored bag.
I'm fucking dying already.
Dude, I'm telling you. Fucking copy that link because you'll want to send it to people.
Oh, I'm fucking sending it to somebody already.
You have to. Let's see. Tantalizing rainbow-colored bag of gummy bears with the simple white and red logo Haribo emblazoned across the bag in what appeared to be a slightly tweaked Helvetica rounded font. Now, I'd pause here in the story for a moment to underscore the importance of making proper choices. I was hungry. When you're hungry, you should eat food. Food is defined as a nutritious substance that people consume to maintain life. This is what food is. These days, the definition of the word food has been bastardized, and the meaning has been broadened to include veritably any material that can be digested or rather chewed and swallowed without causing death or severe illness. Haribo sugar-free gummy bears are not food. They aren't even from this planet. I imagine their origins being conceived in a boardroom in hell by a top team of creative painted ministers with senior level demons rubbing their hands together in ghoulish delight as hell's chef chemist slowly lifts the veil on their new creation. The point here being, I made a very, very, very poor choice. I pushed the button on the vending machine, ejected the brightly colored bag into my awaiting hands. I had always liked gummy bears. They were bright, but rather innocuous. But they weren't overly sweet as to become cloying, and of course, each candy came in a visage of a rather happy, docile bear reminiscent of the picture one's mind's eye holds of all the anthropomorphic bears from Yogi to Winnie.
Anthropomorphic.
The way I figured it, I was taking a bit of a holiday from life so I could relax my fastidiosly, I don't know that word, regimented daily schedule a little to allow for some
This
frivolity.
guy's using words I've never fucking
I know,
heard
this
before.
dude's a fucking English major. After all, I was going to be in Amsterdam come morning with 16 hours to kill before I had to be training the Dutch employees. Maybe I would take a trip down to one of the coffee shops in the red light district and really let my hair down. No, I wouldn't do that. I would see the area of the city from the bus as I went from the hotel where I would eat at the hotel restaurant and drink sparkling water. So I'd better enjoy the gummy bears, my one extravagance to commemorate my break from routine. I joined the queue in the KLM line, which was mercifully short, most likely because all the passengers from my flight had already been checked through as the flight was scheduled to depart in an hour. I checked my watch again, frowned, and absent-mindedly opened the bag of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears and began to munch on them as the line slowly advanced. To be fair, they tasted fine, just like every other manufacturer's brand of colorful candy, and they were sugar-free to boot. This is what made the whole incident the following so baffling. If they had tasted off or different, I most likely wouldn't have continued to shovel them into my mouth absent-mindedly while daydreaming about what I would order to eat from room service in my hotel in Amsterdam. As I gave the attendant my e-ticket, she weighed my bags. The first of the pains began in my stomach. I thought nothing of it at first, chalking it up to the fact that I needed something more substantial than gummy bears to tackle my hunger. But over the course of the next 5 minutes, the shooting pain began to come in more rapid succession. At this point, I had my boarding pass printed and rubbing my stomach a little. I proceeded to security. I briefly entertained the thought of trying to find a restroom before going through security, but at that point, my discomfort was manageable, and I didn't think it would get any worse, not within the amount of time it would take to clear security. I joined the line and started fishing for my passport to present to the agent checking tickets. I felt a thin sheen of sweat break out from my forehead and underarms, and my features flushed for a moment as a wave of heat washed over me. I didn't pay it much heed, as going through security always caused me great anxiety, and I chalked it up to pre-flight jitters. It was only as I stood face to face with the agent and handed her my passport and ticket that I had a glimpse of the agony that was about to begin. It felt like time rippled for a moment, as if my consciousness buckled, so intense was the pain that fired through my bowels. I grimaced spastically and emitted a low moan and felt myself take the involuntary step sideways. Stars shot through my head briefly, and my vision blurred and then snapped back into focus. The agent was staring at me with slight consternation and asked me if I was all right. I pulled myself together, stood up straight.
Christ, dude, just fucking get to. Here's my question.
So much worse.
I know it does, but I'm like, holy shit, bro! You could just easily because we are about right here, so we've got this much left.
Yeah. Dude, the first time I read this review, it took me almost 20 minutes because I was laughing so fucking hard. Okay. Let's see. The agent was staring at me with slight consternation and asked me if I was all right. I pulled myself together, stood up straight, and declared that I was fine, mortified that I had a lapse of decorum, not only in public, but at the security clearance in an airport. As I fumbled off my belt to go through the metal detector, the pain in my stomach increased, and I practically had to sit on the floor to take my shoes off, terrified of what would happen if I bent at the middle to do it. It was becoming increasingly more evident to me that this wasn't just a stomach ache. No, this was something much worse. As a child, I had a bout of diarrhea after a trip to Mexico with my family. I remember the feeling of nausea that swept through me before my child self had surrendered to the gas pains and parked myself on the toilet for an hour, shitting until I felt like I didn't have any bones left. And that was how I was feeling right now, with several key differences. The pain was worse, and the sense of impeding bowel movement was so formidable, it gave me temporary amnesia, and it took all of my willpower, all of it, to clench my butt cheeks together to prevent my sphincter from exploding. You want to scroll down a little bit? A sudden shock. Yep. A sudden shock of pain racked my body, and I half wondered if I was going to give birth to the Tasmanian devil, the crazy fever-induced image of said cartoon animal chasing Bugs Bunny through my splashy volcanic shit kettle that was my stomach, caused me to elicit a short, maniacal bark of laughter as I approached the metal detector. A wild, distant look in my eyes, sweat now beginning to pour off of my long-distance runner of sweat now beginning to pour off of me like a long-distance runner in Kenya. The security agent on the other side of the detector shot a quick glance over to her coworker, who narrowed his eyes and made a subtle movement towards his holster. My breathing became uneven as I entered the metal detector, and I realized with the alarm that I had taken off my socks without even registering it, and my one shirt tail was untucked in front. I held my breath, my eyes bulging dangerously from my head as the machine scanned me. As I shakily moved forward towards the agent for a pat down, my stomach began to elicit sounds that can only be described as otherworldly. It started off a sort of bubbling sound heard from afar and grew in pitch and intensity at an alarming rate. My jaw dropped in shock as what I can only describe as the sound of an agonized, wailing alley cat in heat with a persistent Doppler effect added to its voice emitted from some nether region of my intestines. The officer's eyes widened in alarm, and she kept her eyes glued to my stomach as she thoroughly patted me down. As she reached for my shins, I felt my innards suddenly expand and plummeting towards my rectum. With cat-like reflexes, I squeezed my sphincter shut with what seemed like nanoseconds to spare, and I knew that if I didn't get to the bathroom immediately, I would shit myself. With Herculean effort and all of the strength that I could muster, I forced my butt cheeks together, knowing that one false move would open the floodgates. I began to walk like a duck, trying to remain as inconspicuous as possible, not even caring now that other people were what other people were seeing in front of them. A disheveled, barefoot 40-year-old businessman, red-faced and bulgy-eyed, sweating profusely, shaking slightly, and walking without bending his knees. With single-minded intensity, I grabbed my carry-on, shoes and socks from the plastic tub and passed the x-ray inspection, and without putting anything back on, I turned on my heels with the intention of finding the nearest restroom and slowly dying there one squirt at a time. But that's not what happened. I've got some comments here. People are laughing in the comments. They're loving this shit.
This is amazing.
I turned to go and found myself staring at 3 armed agents who stopped me and asked if I would follow them. Why? What's the matter? I stammered, wincing slightly at the act of speech seeming to strain the tenuous and fragile truce I had negotiated between my bowels and the tempest that raged within. I have to go to the bathroom right now, I pleaded. Just follow us, please, they said, leaving no room for argument. The other travelers clearing the security check stared with curiosity and revulsion at the spectacle unfolding before them, whispering amongst themselves and hurrying to pack up their belongings and get as far away from me as possible, no doubt assuming that the airport had nabbed some sort of domestic terrorist. If I hadn't been feverishly trying to hold back the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, I would have likely died of shame. With each step I took towards the room that they ushered me into, I felt that my legs would give way. I marveled at how strong the human will can be, marveled at what was essentially patching a hole in the Hoover Dam with bubblegum could actually be sustained indefinitely. Maybe I would make it through this ordeal after all. The room they had brought me into was an examination room. I had pretty much stopped registering details of my environment as my consciousness closed off all but the absolutely necessary functions, breathing, ability to walk, but I snapped back to reality when I heard the snap of rubber. The slow dawning of realization poked through my agony and stoic resolve as I turned to face an agent drawing gloves.
Oh my lord!
It gets so
Holy shit!
Sir, we are going to perform a cavity search on you. A young, fresh-faced agent started in a firm but emotionless voice. His short, cropped blonde hair was immaculate. For a crazy moment, I wondered if he was an actor and this was all some sort of elaborate practical joke done to amuse bored kids watching YouTube. He must have taken my tortured silence as resistance because he looked at me sharply and said, "Lower your pants and underwear, please, and face the desk."
Oh my lord.
Panic started to grip me in its icy grasp, and then suddenly the adrenaline threatened to destroy my sphincter's bulwarks and rend my anus in two. I inhaled sharply, and with a pained grasp, I doubled up my efforts to clench my cheeks together. "Sir, please," I begged, deferring to the kid in an act of desperation. "I have to go to the bathroom. You can follow me into the stall if you need to, but I had some bad Haribo sugar-free gummy bears, and now I feel like..." But they had stopped listening and smirked at each other, 2 of the other agents, a tall, dark-haired female and a shorter, balding fat man, looked away from me, and I could see them shaking a little as they stifled their laughs. "Sir, face the wall, put your hands on the desk, and spread your cheeks." The young agent...
Hold on.
Yeah.
So how does one put their hands on the wall and then spread their cheeks?
That's a good question.
Okay, continue.
Maybe they fucking stand super wide. I don't know. I don't know how you do that, but I was laughing way too hard to even comprehend that. Let's see.
The young agent stated, a lopsided grin on his face.
But I began to protest, and then a fresh shock of pain forced me to stop and lean on the table for support as an ungodly howling arose from my stomach, something between the dying moans of a woolly mammoth and the sound of bubble wrap popping underwater. I exhaled shakily, and my focus began to narrow as I rallied for the final battle, shaking uncontrollably and sweat literally raining down onto the tabletop in front of me. I turned to face the wall and heard a meek, childlike voice pleading from somewhere in the room. Please, it said, and then again, please, from somewhere within me. My mind recognized that this sound had issued from me, although my consciousness had now begun to separate from my body, and I held my breath and prayed to God for strength. He probably had, this is the agent, he probably has some heroin or something up there that opened up. The female guard said, as a part of me that hadn't escaped into the ether yet acknowledged that she was behind me to my left, probably high as a kite. Look at him, she said. The shorter guard agreed with a snort off to my right. Spread your cheeks, the young agent said, his voice directly behind me and lower than the other two, and bend over. Please God, please God, please God, please God, please God, please God. I whispered in a desperate maniacal mantra, not even aware of my surroundings anymore. I felt like I was lost in an opium fog with half-snatched images of sounds filtering through to create a nonsensical version of reality. Another volley of pain tore through me, and I involuntarily leaned over the desk. My focus completely narrowed now to a spot on the wall 2 feet in front of me, a curious imperfection in the what seemed to be whitewashed stone walls. It was a dark blotch about 5 millimeters long and shaped like a smiling bear, a yellow dancing bear. No, a green bear. No, red. It was all the colors of the rainbow. My God, it was beautiful. Okay. It just took something as simple as a slight breeze to trigger Armageddon. That's all. No trumpets, no fanfare, no fire raining from the heavens, no dogs or cats living together in harmony, no finger on the button, no prophet to predict it, no nothing. As I stared at the rainbow bear smiling and dancing in front of me, my mouth agape, drooling, eyes gazed and bloodshot, face coated with a sheen of sweat, I heard the softest sound of exhalation from the young agent behind me, and then at the same instant, the warm air of his breath feather across my butt cheeks. For just a moment, maybe less, a split second, even a nanosecond, I felt the presence of God there with me in that room. As neurons began to misfire at a blinding rate, nerve ending bristled when muscles twitched reflexively. I stood on the brink with one foot hovering over the edge, and then without taking a step, I found myself plummeting. With a sound like an extra large plastic ketchup bottle being run over by a truck, my sphincter released. The pressure of the blast pushed me hard into the desk, and the legs desk screeched as they scraped across the floor. My body remained rigid for a moment, and I experienced a relief that can only be described as orgasmic in its purity. My eyes rolled back into my head, and my tongue lolled out of my head like a half dog. My eyes. Hold on. Dry eye. Okay. And I emitted a low, sustained groan that grew in pitch as the filthy torrent pushed its way out of my body. Tremors racked my body, and I must have looked like a fish out of water with an endless stream of shit firing out of its ass. Other sounds and sensations started to filter in now as my consciousness began to materialize once more. The muffled screams of a dungeon filled with prisoners near death radiated from my stomach. The rushing sound of liters of liquid trying to escape through an aperture too small to accommodate it, all at the same time. The omnipresent sound of chunky liquid splattering against a hard surface with great force. The high-pitched screaming of a woman's voice calling out to God. Another voice sobbing uncontrollably, imploring to make it stop in my own ecstatic monotone. Ecstatic, sorry.
No, it's fine, dude. It's just, it's so fucking hilarious.
All right, here we go. Okay. Let's see here. Down to when my ordeal.
Yep.
Okay. When my ordeal had eventually run its course, I was left panting and breathing, wobbly-legged, half crying, half laughing with relief, barely lucid, and feeling as if I had birthed an elephant. My colon felt like someone had poured chili sauce all over it and then sent in a colony of fire ants to eat it. Through my sobs, I heard the sound of dripping, like when the sprinklers are eventually turned off after an office fire, or after a thunderstorm when the willow that overhangs a pond continues to rain down long after the sky has stopped. From behind me, the sobbing continued, and I heard someone trying to speak into a walkie-talkie, but nonsensical words were all that the man could speak, which sounded like ravings of a lunatic. With great relief, I slowly pulled myself off the table, legs trembling, my stomach eliciting one last sound, a loud, prolonged gas bubbling that eerily resembled a pig orgasm. I slowly turned my head to survey the devastation, and in that instant, if I had a pencil or some other sharp object, I probably would have gouged my eyes out in revulsion. And the smell was enough to drive a man insane. It was the stench of rotting potatoes mixed with sulfur and ammonia, cooked in a broth of chicken feces, and left to age for 2 weeks in a yeasty stew at the bottom of a French. After half a whiff of this ghoulish brine, I immediately stopped breathing through my nose, but the taste would remain in the back of my throat for months to come. The young agent had taken the brunt of the foul witch's brew, and at first I couldn't process what I was seeing. I thought somehow the young blonde kid had been spirited away and replaced by a brown golem, or an ATV rider that had spent the better part of a day driving through every mud puddle he could find after a torrential downpour. With some degree of compartmentalization, I came to understand that for some unfathomable reason, this kid hadn't moved, or hadn't been able to move, through the entire fecal deluge. He had weathered the entire assault head on like some sort of hero from Greek mythology. I had given the poor schmuck a one-man shit bukkake that would make a Brazilian pornographer retch with disgust, and he was still in the same position he must have been in at the moment of first impact. I tried to comprehend how he must be feeling and what he must be going through psychologically, but it became evident very quickly that he had become very broken, no doubt forced so deeply within himself once the fire hose had been turned on, that there was little to no hope of him ever coming back from it. Certainly not without extensive psychotherapy or a lobotomy. I looked beyond his quivering, catatonic, crouched form to see a perfect outline of him cut out on the white wall behind him, either side filled with a dripping, opaque layer of alternately pulpy and runny fecal stew. I noticed two quivering masses at either extremes of the room and realized they were humanoid in form, although the cat wailing that was coming from these broken creatures was just blubbering gibberish, and this was the tabalau? I don't know what that word means.
I don't either.
Burnt into my mind's eye for eternity. Needless to say, I missed my flight. In fact, the next week is a blur. I have vague recollections of army hazmat clad figures looming through the brown landscape of the soiled room. The slopping sounds of rubber boots squelching in puddles of fetid detritus, uncontrollable wailing, and animal-like sounds issuing from the mouths of creatures that had been traumatized beyond their capacity of being put back together. The complete loss of sensation from my waist down as I was rolled through the room on a waterproof gurney. Its wheels
struggling to surf.
Yes, its wheels struggling to surf on top of the shit-soaked floor. I spent a week or so in the hospital, enclosed in a well-ventilated, sealed room, with suited doctor coming in on the hour to monitor my vital signs as they had tried to rehydrate my body. I had apparently expelled every available drop of water from my body that was possible to sustain life without for a short period of time. All of my clothes were incinerated in the hospital's crematorium, and the soiled bag of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears was never recovered. This is my story. It is inconceivable to think of this kind of product can be sold legally and be misrepresented as food. I was lucky I survived, but as for the families of the survivors and the survivors themselves, they will forever live with the trauma of the events that took place at Pearson International Airport on that snowy day in April 2013. The review for Haribo sugar-free gummy bears.
I've already shared this with probably 5 people.
I can tell you right now, one of the guys I work with, he saw this review and he's like, I have to see if it's real. He bought the 5-pound bag of gummy bears.
Oh my!
He brought
Lord.
it to work. He filled the container up and he brought like hundreds of gummy bears in. He put it on the counter at work and he's like, listen, here's the deal. They say that this will give you the shits. I have not tested this theory, but I want to see if it's true. If you want to test this theory, eat about 15 gummy bears. I said, okay. So I took a handful of gummy bears. I'm like, I have a pretty solid stomach. Like I could put shit down. Like I got an iron stomach. Shouldn't be a problem. So I ate like 5, and I'm like, all right,
You fucking ate.
no problem. So about an hour goes by, and I'm not having any problems. So I ate like probably like 15 more over the next like half hour. And my buddy's like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't even been to the bathroom. I haven't shit today. He goes, oh. So I go out to lunch. I'm in my car. Usually I have a half-hour break, so I'm laying in my car, just listening to some music or whatever.
Uh-oh.
And I feel it. I fucking feel the rumblies, dude. Like, I feel the bubble guts. And I'm like, oh, no. So I get inside, and my buddy's like, what's the matter? And I am sweating at this time. I'm like, dude, I got to fucking shit. And he's like, someone's in the bathroom. I'm like, they need to get the fuck out of the bathroom. They need to get the fuck out of the bathroom right now. Knocking on the door. Get off your fucking phone. Get out of the bathroom. I need to fucking shit. Made it just in time.
It's the most helpless fucking feeling in the world.
Dude, like, I have never felt a shit like that before. It literally felt like my entire intestinal tract was being evacuated all at one time with such force. Like, like splatter. Like, this was past splatter, bro. This was a whole nother level of splatter.
Was this worse than Taco Bell shits?
Worse than Taco Bell shits. I would eat Taco Bell for a year straight and still not have as bad of a shit as I had when I ate fucking 20 Haribo sugar-free gummy bears.
How long did it last?
The shitting itself lasted about 20 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
It was so bad. It was so, like, I tell you.
You know what I would have done? I would have weighed myself at the beginning of the day and then fucking weighed myself afterwards.
Well, that's the thing. I had no idea that they were coming in. So he brought them in at the beginning of the day, and he said it to everybody up front. He's like, listen, if you want to try this, it was me and like 3 other dudes that did it. He's like, if you want to try this, just know this is what could possibly happen. There's 1 bathroom.
Oh, dude, that's terrible.
It was so bad.
At least at my work, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bathrooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stalls. So at least if something like that happens, oh Jesus Christ, dude, I can only imagine that's fucking helpless.
Like,
yeah, I shared this on my baseball Twitter account. It was like shit, stuff you come across randomly. You have to read this. One of my other co-hosts, he goes, I saw your tweet. I'm crying laughing. Thank you for this. Another person posts up. They were like, get this man a book publisher. Another person goes, good God. Another person says, good Lord. Another person posts up Will Smith going, that's some funny shit. And I was like, pun intended.
Always.
But Jesus Christ, dude.
Jeffrey, I'm sorry I derailed it for like 20 minutes, but I felt this was necessary.
Oh, that was 100. 100%. He's only had one review, 23,933 helpful votes.
Dude, like I thought he was exaggerating because my buddy told me about the review. He's like, "This is what he said happened. Take it for what it is." I was like, "Nah, it's fine. He's just fucking trying to be funny on the internet. Like people do that shit all the time."
Nah, dude, this guy fucking like wrote a fucking book.
This dude
He
wrote a
fucking
novel about his
Yeah.
shit at Pearson International Airport in Toronto, and holy fuck, it's legit. If anyone knows me, they know like I don't fuck with that shit. I don't say shit for fun. Like no, that shit's legit. It is. If you're watching this, if you value your asshole, do not, I repeat, do not consume Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. You will not have a good time. I promise. I promise you will not have a good time.
I just
It's so
posted
bad.
it in my podcast network fucking group chat.
So bad.
I just said, if you ever get bored, read this review.
It's so fucking bad, dude. And now, of course, wherever I go, if they have a candy section, I'm like, I wonder if they have sugar-free gummy bears. Because I feel like I need to inform people to not buy this. Like I feel like I'm obligated.
I want to go buy some fucking sugar-free.
I am
right
obligated by my experience to make sure.
Oh,
dude, it's so fucked.
oh my lord, dude! I have such bad intentions with this.
Well,
Halloween candy.
dude, that's you know what you do? You just buy the case, right? And you give out like 6 of them and be like, here you go. Here's 5 pounds of gummy bears. Enjoy.
What? And they'll be like, oh, we'll go to this guy next year. And they fucking
don't enjoy it. It's horrible. It's absolutely fucking horrible. Your colon will turn itself inside out without you wanting it to. If you have to get a colonoscopy, they should just give you sugar-free gummy bears. It's so fucking bad, dude.
Give it to my little shit for a nephew.
Dude. If you have enemies, like mortal enemies, like don't give this to people you don't like. If you have mortal enemies, give them these gummy bears.
Oh man, I think I'm
only if they're mortal enemies.
Bring them to work.
It's so fucking bad, dude.
All right, Mike, we're definitely way over the time.
We're way over.
But that last that's a way to leave the show for people wanting more. So definitely appreciate that. Everybody out there, it's Jeffrey Lambert. Hell holds no surprises for me anymore. It was reviewed in the United States on May 2nd, 2016. I will try to put the link in the Spotify, whichever wherever you find your podcast or whatever. It'll be in that link in the description. I'll make sure to do that. Mike, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Catching up with you, man. We gotta get together. We do have
absolutely.
To get together.
Dude, we live like fucking 5 miles away. Dude, so there's
literally like 5, not less than 10 miles we live from each other. We gotta fucking hook up.
Yeah. So I mean, I go out to that fucking Walmart in East Windsor every Sunday. So
all right.
Let's
maybe
try
we can find some sugar-free gummy bears together.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it. I'm not eating them, but let's do it.
No. We'll find them and give them to people. Just be like, hey, you want to? I'll buy them for you.
Yeah. So everybody out there, as you know, we just do random shows right now until we figure something out. Hogdale was not able to join today. Didn't ask him, actually. That was the thing. We will be trying to do more shows in this year. Make sure to check Mike at, where can they find you, Mike?
Okay, if you want to check out my stuff, you can on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. I am Mental Misstep. On Twitch, I am Mental Misstep Games, and on Twitter, I am Big Metal Mike.
So go ahead and follow him. Great content, funny shit.
Thank you.
Pun intended as well. And I mean, I would have never found this fucking review if it wasn't for you. So
I don't know if I should say you're welcome or I'm sorry.
Well, the review was fucking great. I don't think I would ever do it. Like, I don't think I would have ever fucking like known about these sugar-free gummy bears. So, Mike.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend.
Dude, thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Like said, we'll have you on again.
It's been great. Yeah, anytime, man.
All right.